are much serious issues.
These are much
right?
serious.
And sometimes the attack is right on a public platform. Somebody is attacking you, getting personal.
तो कभी नहीं मुझे काफी बार हुआ है कि when someone has reached out with me personally तो उन्होंने माफी मांगी है ऑफ द रिकॉर्ड मांगी है कभी कभी ऑन स्क्रीन मंगवाई है मैंने तो होता है एंड वी हैव टू मूव ऑन बट देयर आर मेनी जो होते हैं जो इतना पर्सनली अटैक करते हैं और फिर कहते हैं हमने ऐसा कुछ कहा ही नहीं तब दुख होता है कि आप किस स्तर पे ये टेलीविजन डिबेट्स को गिराएंगे स्पेशली एक महिला होने के नाते देखते हो इट बिकम्स वेरी इजी फॉर men to just randomly say ये तो पेज 3 सोशलाइट है ये तो ऐसी है आप नहीं जाते हैं क्या कोई पार्टी में हम आपको बोल देते हैं पेज 3 सोशलाइट है तो इस तरीके से बोलना फिर किसी ने कहा देखिए आपका ऐसे ऐसे राइज हो गया इतना जल्दी जल्दी राइज हो गया क्या ऐसे कैसे होता है बहुत कम लोगों का होता है तो थोड़ा सोच समझ कर बात करें कभी आपके भी यू नो अटैक्स अगर ऐसे होते हैं इनवर्ड लुकिंग हुई कॉन्शियस सिटीजन हुई है what content are you sharing with people? Is it how you would want people to think of you?
And when news is considered something just consumed by families, it's not like
yes, exactly. And आजकल I can't even tell you हिंदू मुसलमान लाउडस्पीकर हनुमान चालीसा इन्हीं पे ज्यादा से ज्यादा डिबेट्स इन्हीं पे हो रही हैं क्या आप मुझे बताएं जब हम लोग दिन में खाना खाते हैं क्या खाना हम सबके लिए महंगा नहीं हो रहा है क्या जो महंगाई हो रही है क्या वो हिंदू मुसलमान क्रिश्चियन सिख देख रहा है वो एक भारतीय को हो रही है सो समवेयर आई थिंक देयर शुड बी सम कॉन्शियसनेस दैट कम्स इन कि हमें हमारी रिस्पांसिबिलिटी इज टुवर्ड्स creating content which connects with the people of this country which speaks on behalf of the people of this country if you would see now that I'm in the Rajya Sabha मेरा जो भी interventions होते हैं are very people driven are very driven towards creating better societies for our people so once you are in that position I would always say अगर आप कोई position of power पे हैं किसी तरीके की भी और आपके पास ये मंच और माइक है तो वो मंच और माइक को एक impactful मेथड बनाइए उसको रिड्यूस मत कर दीजिए जो पॉइंट पे पीपल से ये भी नहीं सुना है घर में दिक्कतें हैं मेहनत हो रही है कमाई पूरी नहीं हो रही है रोजगार नहीं मिल रहे हैं और टीवी में भी आकर हम चूचा सुन रहे हैं
So Priyanka, is in your party there's some kind of training when you become a spokesperson? Because that is what we were discussing in the morning, that over the years the quality of spokesperson, much like quality of content and quality of anchors, because now we have some 400 news channels, there is a clear in the sense that it looks compromised. So do you believe that there is a need for training of spokespersons? And I was, in fact, when I was reading yesterday, I found out there are some formal schools they're charging 25,000 rupees.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, they are charging 25,000 rupees for a course in how to become a spokesperson.
My God, मैं free of cost कर दूँ and मैं ठीक से
you can teach
guidelines दे दूँ नहीं
I
will never do this for money.
For younger people.
No, I spokesperson का role ना मैं I take it as a sense of responsibility. और ये responsibility की feeling तभी आएगी जब आप you truly love what you're doing and you want to ensure that people are getting the right message. ये पैसे से I will not sit in judgment about it, पर मैं आपको कहूँ हमारी तो कोई ट्रेनिंग नहीं हुई. फर्स्ट डे मुझे जैसे ही मेरा अनाउंसमेंट हुआ था उसके नेक्स्ट डे मुझे बहुत सारे टेलीविजन चैनल्स फोन करने लगे मैं खुद घबरा गई कि मैं बोलूंगी क्या जाकर and I was debating with some really senior people and then I took a step back. I was in no hurry. I said मैं जब जाऊंगी I will be fully prepared and be prepared to take on all the attack that comes my way and to be giving it back in equal measure. So all the grooming happened on its own. Now the kind of grooming also that you take, you have to be well read, you have to be well informed, and you should be able to go with research. Till you don't have that context, no training academy in the world will be able to teach you that. That I can say, और मैं आप सबके 25,000 बचाऊंगी ऐसे कोई काम नहीं करिएगा कि पैसा खर्च कर लो और जॉब भी ना मिले.
Priyanka, also as spokesperson, you kind of become face of the party, right? Because initially people read and then they know that if it's Priyanka, she's from. You changed the party. How was that transition? Because for a very long time, people associated with you with a certain party and an ideology and whatever, and then there is a sudden shift. So Is it difficult to transition?
Actually, for me, it wasn't a difficult transition. But for people, of course, because I began being associated, and perhaps they took a liking to what I was speaking, that is why the association continued. But if you look at Priyanka Chaturvedi, the issue she spoke then, the issue she speaks now, continue being the same. But perhaps I have got a little more independence to be able to take stances on issues that talk about, when you talk about a secular nation does not mean showing favoritism or creating fear in any communities. When you're secular, then you're totally giving up your personal religious identities, you're keeping them in your home, and you're working towards whatever the constitutional responsibilities are. So today, I am perhaps in a better position to be able to take those stances, even if I'm trolled for it. The liberal variety trolls me for it. They can continue to troll me for it. But I'm working towards a secular country, and that secular country means no favoritism and no appeasement. It has to be an equal society, equal for all. But there cannot be harassment.
So you mean to say that the transition, this change, now you talk with more conviction?
Yes, the conviction comes from the feeling that you are not bound by a certain set of how for some people it's about their vote bank, etc. I don't do that now. And also, transitions are always difficult. I would always say that transitions are difficult even for people to gather that. But my personal, I would say, in my transition, what helped me a lot was the support that came from the people of this country. I can't even begin to tell you. मुझे लगा था कि इतनी negative press आएगी, इतना सब लोग मुझे negatively देखेंगे, क्या करेंगे. But they were all very positive, and that only comes when you have built a certain amount of credibility. And I have only worked towards credibility, content, and being able to present the best of your abilities. And I think that is what ultimately matters. People fade away, people end, their careers end, shelf life hoti hai, sab hota hai. And also consciously keep myself away. अगर television बहुत दिनों रोज करे तो मैं भी पीछे फिर I take a step back. No one wants to see Priyanka Chaturvedi every day on TV. Yeah, I really now it's very.
In the sense that I only go for these many debates in a week or a
हाँ,
month.
as long as it's content driven, मैं चली जाती हूँ.
What are your favorite topics?
Petrol prices पे हो, international issues पे हो, India's positioning, global positioning हो, ये youth पे हो, महिलाओं पे हो.
So when it's around some
अगर कुछ भी ध्यान भटकाने वाले होते हो, मैं कोशिश करती हूँ नहीं जाऊँ. मैं मना कर देती हूँ. मैं बिल्कुल मना कर देती हूँ. And the best thing about the party also is that we will only talk on governance. We have a responsibility in Maharashtra. And if it is about issues of Maharashtra, please go for it. But if it is ध्यान भटकाने वाले होते, तो जनता से कोई उसमें connect नहीं होता, जनता को उकसाता है, भड़काता है, take a step back. So I don't know. I can't encourage this content which I don't want my own children to watch. That is my basic principle. If I don't want my children to watch, why should I thrust it on other people's children?
Priyanka, you've been around for almost like 10, 12 years as a spokesperson, right? So prior to that, things were different, like maybe in late 90s or early 20s, when the television had come in, and there used to be debates, but the quality of debates, I presume, was much better, and they were spokespersons from across parties who were well read. Their content would have value. So if you can share with me as names of some of the spokespersons that you used to admire and used to enjoy listening to, even if they had an absolutely different point of view.
Oh, absolutely. मेरे पास तो कितने आप देखिए अरुण जेटली जी देखिए, आप सुषमा स्वराज जी देखिए, आप यहाँ पर कांग्रेस में I would say Pawan Khera is doing very well. Jerry बहुत dear friend है तो Jerry. पुरानों में I would say I can't. Abhishek Manu Singh Vijay, he's been since long. He's been a spokesperson. He is brilliant. I think having a law degree helps a lot for any spokesperson. You can get out of any situation. Kapil Sibal ji is one of the nicer spokespersons that we have. So yeah, so these are spokespersons who I've learned from, grown from, and grown along with. So it's interesting space to be in.
And amongst the contemporary ones, I mean, I'm sure you check who all are on the panel, and there are names that
Every time I do that
so
shit.
there are some names that you're like, okay, yes, I'm willing to
Some-
have a debate
some-
with X, Y, Z, and I'm not asked the names with which you don't want to have debates unless you really want to
हाँ,
share.
नहीं, नहीं,
But you know, if we can have names of those you
So
would want to.
I really enjoy debating with Nalin Kohli, but Nalin Kohli she doesn't.
Nalin is the second most popular. People
Yeah,
say your name and
because he
Nalin.
was one of those who speaks with content, does not interrupt you, allows you your chances, and then he also takes down your argument. Similarly, so there's that respect. कि तुम अपना समय ले लो, मैं अपना समय लूंगा और जब बोलूंगा तो
जैसा हमको स्कूल
होना
कॉलेज में
चाहिए।
सिखाया गया है कि डिबेट्स होते हैं.
Sudhanshu Trivedi ji is someone I enjoy debating with. संबित और मेरे काफी debates होते थे and हमेशा हम दोनों को एक साथ डाल दिया जाता था कि because you make for good TRP, but he's a dear friend. So, but in terms of content,
and it's very different off screen.
हाँ बहुत लोग on screen भी बहुत अलग एक वो होता है. But yeah, these are some people I enjoy having a debate with in terms of the larger scheme of things. From the Congress now, I have Pawan Khiraji kabhi kabhi aate hain. Then Javeer is not very regular now. But you know, I must give you another downside to this. I don't know कितनों को राजीव त्यागी जी याद है. राजीव त्यागी जी और मैंने बहुत साथ में काम किया था. And one fine day, while on television channel, he just collapsed. So you can imagine, nobody talks about the stress that mental stress that we go through, the physical stress we go through, and how it means cacophony is level tak बढ़ गई कि it can create critical issues like these.
Javi in fact mentioned this in the morning that after that he decided to slow down.
Yeah,
And
I
he
mean,
started. So did something similar happen to you?
नहीं मैंने तो मैं बता रही हूँ आपको मैं शुरू से ही जब मैंने टीवी डिबेट शुरू किया था हमारी पूरी वीकेंड चली जाती है फैमिली लाइफ खत्म हो जाती है आप कहीं रात में you know people step out of their homes for dinner at 8 p.m. 9 p.m. while we were actually sitting at home and doing TV debates. My children were forced to sit at home because हम home delivery घर के अंदर ही करवा लेते थे. We used to call for food. So it takes a lot away from you. People don't see your struggle. People don't see your journey. And you're seeing my family life was totally messed up because of this. And I had to actually request the party that on weekends allow me some time off because my children cannot, in my ambition, my children cannot suffer the consequences of it. So I was always held back. मैं खुद ही अपने आप को करती थी because I do understand कि TV fatigue लोगों को hit करता है. और अब same वही aggressive गुस्सा it affects your mental health. And I am thin-skinned. I'm very thin-skinned. So if someone has told me something really nasty, it used to take me weeks to recover.
And the time must have reduced. पहले हफ्ते लगते होंगे तो एक दिन में ही लगता होगा कि
नहीं वो तो ना मेरे मन में हमेशा के लिए मैं I let the person go पर मेरे दिमाग में हमेशा जब भी उसको देखती हूँ मैं कुछ ध्यान आता है ऐसे मुझसे बात करता. I'm very thin. Of course, it's not worth keeping it into your system because it's bad for your own health. I do forgive, but I don't forget. Never do.
Okay, I've not been given a time frame also. So is there any time frame?
Before I start boring people.
So no, I mean abruptly I've been put into it. So I just want to understand that if I have more. So another thing I would want to understand from you is Priyanka, that of course we all agree that the quality has deteriorated and things are not as good as we want them to be. What according to you is the roadmap? Where do you see hope and how things will change?
देखो मैं बस एक ही बार हमेशा कहूंगी कि ये जिम्मेदारी सिर्फ मीडिया की नहीं है सिर्फ स्पोक्सपर्सन्स की नहीं है ये जनता की भी है. You all are creating content which public is consuming. So if people start demanding for this kind of change, हम बार-बार रात पूरे थके आ रहे आते हैं और फिर हम ये देखते हैं हमें नहीं देखना है. You're like giving them that TRP. You're giving them the reason to believe. For example, I'll tell you, इतने समय से वो TRP रेटिंग खत्म कर दी थी. तो सारे टेलीविजन चैनल्स एजेंडा ऐसा चलाते थे जो they thought it will connect with people. जैसे TRP शुरू हुई, पता चला कि यूक्रेन और रशिया का वॉर लोग ज्यादा कंटेंट प्रेफर कर रहे हैं। तो आई एम श्योर यू सॉ सम वीडियो क्लिप्स दैट वेंट वायरल, जहाँ पे हमारे देश के किसी कोने में खड़े होकर वो सारे ये जूम वो जूम रफेल जेट्स चल रहे, सब चल रहे हैं, न्यूक्लियर वॉर की बात की जा रही है। इट फोर्स द IND टू फाइनली कम अप विद अ गाइडलाइन। तो मेरे कहने का मतलब बस ये है कि जिन हम लोग ये TRP रैंकिंग्स ये सब के चक्कर में ना पड़े और हम कंटेंट पे ध्यान रखें, जनता के मुद्दों पे ध्यान रखें, तभी होगा। एंड इट हैज टू बी वेरी कॉन्शियस effort and collective effort.
Has it ever happened that 5-6 of you as spokesperson have spoken about it and have thought कि हमको कुछ करना चाहिए, we should go to the MIB or we should form a body or we should do something about bringing this change?
Actually, I have extensively on my personal capacity worked on this. मैंने लेटर लिखा था IND मिनिस्टर को, तब रविशंकर प्रसाद जी नहीं प्रकाश जावड़ेकर जी थे, मैंने उसको बकायदा लेटर लिखा था कि इस पे ध्यान देने की चीज है। और जब
क्या exactly
मैंने उनसे कहा था कि ये जो TRP का चक्कर है, TRP का भी स्कैम निकला था, TRP का चक्कर है, look at the hate and the content that is driving these channels, कहीं तो लगाम, what is an IND ministry for? How do you make it impactful? There's a sudden spurt of channels that have been authorized to go on air, broadcasting rights दे दिए हैं, but we are unable to manage the content. So till you don't do that, it's not going to happen. So ये तो personal capacity. Now this is what I can do in my personal capacity when I pull back. A, B, in whatever authority I have, I can at least alert them कि ये करना है. But again, I will not just hold the government's responsibility.
JV भी तुम्हें बता रहे थे, he also wrote a letter to MIB on very similar lines after Rajiv's demise.
Well, that impacted a lot of us and spokespersons across party lines.
But there's not really been much action from the ministry.
नहीं, और मैं बताऊँ, एक और मैं आपको चीज बताता हूँ। चलिए ये तो हम लोग मीडिया को यहाँ पे बोल रहे हैं। Political parties में भी spokesperson आपका चेहरा है, आपका narrative builders हैं, आपको defend कर रहे हैं, आपको गाली दे रहे हैं, गाली खा भी आपके behalf पे रहे हैं। But political parties consider you somebody के हाँ चलो टीवी पे ही तो जाते हैं, क्या तुम लोग change कर सकते हो? You're just there to defend us. They take you so lightly. So the point is that as a spokesperson, you're there defending, people know you, but people are also seeing that your careers are stagnant because political parties think nothing of you. So that is also something which is worth exploring as a, what is the future? And मैं तो आज बता रही थी, अनुराग जी को बोल रही थी, मेरी तो सवेरे 9 बजे की फ्लाइट थी, मुझे जैसे ही email आई कि we are acknowledging spokespersons. I was like, who does this in this country? We are debating day in, day out. Not a single person acknowledges you or your contribution. And today, Exchange for Media is doing that. I cancelled my ticket. I said, I have to be here because this is something which is such an important initiative. So at least y'all are taking us seriously.
Really glad. Anurag, do you want to take over?
Take over.
Yeah.
My commitment.
Sure.
Finally saw the list. That's what I went. I finally ढंग से लिस्ट मैंने अभी देखी है बात करके।
बता दो भैया।
अब तो बता ही दो।
तो मैं वो देखी
और कैसे मैं चली जाऊंगी या तो चेहरा छुपा के भागूं।
नहीं, ऐसा है कि आप सब, मैं जेन्युइनली बोल रहा हूँ, आप बहुत अच्छा कर रही है और अनुराग जी आप भी अच्छा कर रहे हैं, तो चिंता मत करिए।
समय से छोड़ दीजिए।
हाँ, समय से छोड़ देंगे, इसलिए तो दोपहर को रखा। पहला सवाल है प्रियंका जी, I was listening on Twitter and we were playing this live. See, what is the difference that has come in you? You were a communication professional. You became a spokesperson. You are a member of parliament. I have seen, and because I am also on your Facebook, I do see what you post. So in your case, I know. I mean, I see most of your posts. I can't say 100, but most, especially if it's your speech in the parliament. Most I saw recently you posted about your office.
Yeah.
These are. What is the change that comes into a spokesperson when he or she becomes an MP? आपके बाद में सैयद जफर इस्लाम जी से भी बातचीत करूंगा. So what is the change in your attitude towards being a spokesperson? Do you become more selective in where you go? Of course, you have less time because you have parliamentary duties. What is the change that comes when you approach your spokesperson responsibility?
No, actually, मेरा भी तो transition wasn't really something which made me think, how will I speak or what will I do? Because that comes very naturally to you. When you're someone who's communicating, you'll be able to communicate. But yes, a sense of responsibility aa jati hai ki you can't just say anything random and think that people will accept it now because you have a bigger sense of responsibility. So about that, I'm very careful. My issues till now have always and always been people driven. Inside the parliament, and I must also say this, I'm a politician outside the parliament. Inside the parliament, I'm a responsible Indian citizen who has been given a responsibility for 1.3 billion people. And I speak with that conviction that I'm speaking about people's issues.
Thank you so much, Shri Sudhanshu Trivedi जी, जो बीजेपी के प्रवक्ता हैं और मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट हमारे बीच में हैं। सुधांशु जी शुक्रिया। श्री सैयद जफरुल इस्लाम जी, जो भी वो भी बीजेपी के प्रवक्ता हैं और राज्यसभा एमपी हैं, वो भी हैं। और श्री उदय महावकर जी, who is the Central Information Commissioner of India, he is a former editor, he is the author of many books. He is also with us. Anurag ji, who is a spokesperson for the Samajwadi Party, is also with us. Mrs. Tiranguri from the TDP is also with us. She was in a panel in the morning. I also want, what is the role of research and how much research do you actually do? See, in the short news cycles, you also don't have time to do research yourself. So your research assistants, your parliamentary assistants who give you data. और कई मॉर्निंग में एक स्पोक्सपर्सन कह रहे थे कि सुधांशु जी तो गूगल है, उनको सब डेटा याद होता है, वो डेटा विकिपीडिया, हाँ, दैट्स द वर्ड आपकी पार्टी की स्पोक्सपर्सन ने आपके लिए यूज किया कि he brings a lot. So how do you prepare for a debate? I know because of your experience you can go unprepared and still make it look good. But आप कितना preparation करती हैं? How do you do that? So
I'm personally क्योंकि मैं columns ये सब लिखती हूँ, my research is very personally done by myself. Many people ask me who helped you. After my parliament speeches, some people have asked me, does someone prepare your speeches? Then I guess how big a staff I have. So they said, होंगे 5-6 लोग होंगे आपके साथ। मैंने नहीं, मेरे पास सिर्फ 2 लोग हैं और सारा रिसर्च कंटेंट मैं लिखती हूँ। वो लोग से बस मैं वैलिडेट कराती हूँ कि ये जो मेरी इंफॉर्मेशन मुझे ध्यान आ रही है, is that correct? And can you get me the link? So that is all I do. But all this, जैसे सुधांशु जी के हम सभी तारीफ कर रहे हैं, and I love debating with him. The point is, अगर आप खुद well read हो, आप में खुद में वो ये motivation हो to learn more, and across party ideology, I must say, across party ideology, you will always have a very well thought out speech that you make inside the parliament. And even outside, when you're as a spokesperson, you can present your content well simply because you know what will come from the other side. Because you also try to understand where they are coming from. So well-read, self-motivated, and well-researched is the only recipe for being a better communicator.
My last point, I asked this to some of the spokesperson in the morning. Outside your party, you already said Sudhanshu ji is somebody you love debating with, but outside your party, give me 2 people, one a female leader and one male leader, who you look up to and why. Spokesperson, I'm talking purely
and contemporary ones or the
contemporary. Contemporary.
So because Sudhanshu ji is here, I'll say Sudhanshu ji is one person I like debating with, and he comes very well read, well informed, well researched, and his history, though I think nobody can beat him that. So his hold over who spoke what, even in 1853, he will be able to tell you. So yes, he's one. Amongst the women from the other party, on the other side. Right?
Other side.
I would say Shaina is someone I really like talking to, because Shaina is always someone who maintains the dignity of the discussion. And
she comes very few.
Rarely, but yeah, even I don't go every day anymore.
Yeah, no, but she's like, as compared, we've tracked the number of appearances, that she's like, she's not there. Maybe right now, I think. Like, every Shergill, every Shergill of Congress doesn't come enough in the last 2 years. That's a fact. I mean, you've looked at our research, and that's what I'm saying.
The rest, I actually don't debate much anymore, so I can't say anyone from the contemporary scheme of things, but definitely China is one of those.
I want to close this
yes.
By saying that, spokesperson are very important for the message getting across, but they're also role models for a lot of young people I meet. आपको भी पता है कि people come up to you because they were a long period. So I think you have a lot more responsibility than journalists. Journalists have a more responsibility than you, but you also have a lot of responsibility.
मैं तो बल्कि यही कह रही थी हम सबको हमें तो सब सीरियसली लेते हैं हम नैरेटिव है फेज है सब है पर पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज ही हमें हल्के में लेती हैं
नहीं ऐसा नहीं we take you very seriously and this is the first year of the initiative so thank you for being here it will become a big initiative please give Priyanka ji a big round of applause thank you एक मिनट आपको 2 मिनट
request. Okay. We request the presence of Karan Bhatia ji, Strategic Business Consultant Exchange for Media, sir. Please.
Heads the PR and popcorn community and outstanding work.
Thank you so much, ma'am, and Dr. Batra. Okay, our next fireside chat. It's a humanizing the narrative, taking it from it to we. And ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming on stage Syed Zafar Islam ji from BJP and Dr. Anurag Batra, Chairman and Editor-in-Chief, BW Business World and Exchange for Media. Ladies and gentlemen, round of one, please. We all had after lunch. This is the line. Lovely.
Thank you, Mahulkar sir, and thank you, Priyanka ji, and thank you, Ankit, for doing that. Again, like our last spokesperson and MP, you made the journey from being a spokesperson to being a member of parliament, and I know Moradabad is your constituency, you give a lot of time, as you were saying, outside. How does the role of a spokesperson change when he or she becomes an MP?
Well, when you become an MP, first of all, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for attending this post-lunch session because it's very difficult to attend the post-lunch session. But on the question you have posed, honestly, the response